Hey guys, and welcome to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. If you're a regular on the channel, you know I absolutely love FPGA gaming, and that is the main focus of my YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, then we're going to talk about FPGA gaming in the year 2025. We've had a roller coaster of a year in the year 2024. It has been epic. We've had new projects, we've had new cores for old projects. It has been a great ride. What is FPGA in a nutshell, layman's terms, because I am a layman? We played our old hardware, like say for example the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Mega Drive, the Commodore Amiga. But then what happened is we got rid of the hardware. Years later, when we felt a little bit nostalgic, we kind of found out about software emulation, and we used programs such as RetroArch and dedicated emulators to kind of recreate that experience. For the whole part, that is really good, but there was some inaccuracies that I noticed, and that was until I discovered like the MiSTer project, the Analogue Pocket. It, rather than software emulation, I would call it more hardware simulation. It was reproducing that hardware on a hardware level. Probably someone can explain it better, but I'm guessing most of you guys that are here kind of know a little bit about FPGA gaming anyway. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to have a look at what can we expect in the year 2025. Now I'm going to try and do this video in one go. I've made myself a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm just going to kind of go through it like I'm at work doing some kind of tutorial for all the corporate people that I mingle with. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, then a subscription and a like is super duper appreciated. I also want to say that a lot of stuff here is speculative. All opinions are my own, and some of this may turn out to be correct, some of it may be completely incorrect. I'm really interested in feedback from you guys, what you're excited about, where you think we will be a year from now. So I'm filming this on December the 29th. Where will we be December the 29th, 2025, a year from now? So let's begin. What to expect? Some things to look forward to and some speculation, like it says over there. And before we go further, guys, I have used AI to kind of make some mock-ups to give you guys some eye candy. So let's start. And let's start with the MiSTerFPGA project. Guys, this is a project that has been out for a number of years. I've been covering it for around about 2 years, maybe a little bit more. And guys, without a doubt, even to this day, I will say this is the king of FPGA gaming. It's just amazing. Like, it's amazing. It runs with original hardware. The cores on it are fantastic. It completely negates input lag. It works with CRTs. It is just a great project. Whether you want to play the Spectrum, whether you want to play the Super Nintendo, whether you want to play something modern or more modern like the Sega Saturn or the Nintendo 64, this thing has you covered. And guys, don't think this is the end for the MiSTer. There is so much content out there that is possible on this. When we look at something like MAME, we're talking about thousands of games, arcade games that can be brought over to the MiSTerFPGA. 2024 was quite a year, and we'll have a look at some of the developments that occurred for the MiSTerFPGA in 2024 and how they'll kind of shape up in 2025. We've still got more to come from MiSTer, as we're gonna see. So initially, how I bought my MiSTer was I bought the DE10 Nano board from Thoracic. I didn't buy it directly from Thoracic. At the top there, you've got Thoracic, and then in the middle, you've got like a listing from a couple of sites, DigiKeys and MiSTer. I think the bottom one, I bought it from MiSTer. When I bought it, it was £175. So we can see it's gone up somewhat. And it's a little bit cheaper on DigiKeys, it's £180. And this is an original DE10 Nano. And I say original because there are some clones, or there are some variants of the DE10 Nano that have surfaced in the year 2024. But you can buy it directly from Thoracic as well, the manufacturer of this board. So yeah, that's kind of one route to go. That was the old route to go. There are different options as well if you want to go there. You can buy the board, for example, from any of the sellers that we showed there, Thoracic themselves, DigiKeys or MiSTer. Then you can head over to somewhere like MiSTerFPGA.co.uk, and you can buy all the accessories that you need to build the rest of it. I think these guys only sell accessories. They don't actually sell the DE10 Nano, the FPGA themselves. Or if you want to buy a whole kit, you've got sellers like MiSTer Add-ons where, well, you can buy a whole kit. You can buy a single SD-RAM version, a dual SD-RAM version. kind of choose the case, kind of choose what you want. And guys, there's a lot going for the MiSTer. Now, if you think this price is too high, well, here we have like the alternatives or like the clones that have come up. So there's a couple of companies that have made their own versions of the DE10 Nano board, and one of them is QM Tech. So you can get that quite a lot cheaper. That's an all-in-one bundle. So that's the case, that's the IO board, 191 before tax, then tax and delivery added to that. So options have opened up. This like pretty much half the price of a full MiSTerFPGA setup. So from a consumer's perspective, it was really, really good. A lot more people were getting into FPGA gaming, and hopefully a lot of you people are coming over to my channel. Then we had Techie Udon, who made his company Retro Remake. This really shook up the market. He was doing a MiSTer DE10 Nano board, as we can see in the bottom right corner, for $94.99, $95 compared to Thoracic that were charging $225, so less than half the price. As well as that, this actually worked, it works with a USB-C power delivery adapter. So there was some what you could call quality of life changes on there. He also sold mega kits, bundles, a bundle with a case that was ready to go, or all the parts that you could assemble yourself. But it doesn't stop there. You know, he's selling SD RAM, which is significantly cheaper. So a whole bunch of accessories from Retro Remake, and we can expect to see more in 2025. Now, some of the things that Retro Remake have said they're going to be coming out. One of the MiSTers that they're going to release. So on the left there, that is an AI generated image that I said. I worked with it. I'm not the greatest at doing the prompts, but here you go. They're going to be doing like a version of the MiSTerFPGA with a screen attached to it, and it's supposed to be like a PVM styled screen, like based on a PVM. So anyway, that's what ChatGPT gave me, or their visual making tool. But those images on the right hand side are something that Takilden shared over Twitter. So you got brightness, you got volume, so you really can have your roof party, and there's more to come for Retro Remake. I do remember Takilden saying that the price ceiling for any of the devices is the raw price of the DE10 Nano board when buying it from Thoracic. So nothing here should be more than $225. Now, things can be subject to change, but I'm going by memory over here. So we've got exciting times with the MiSTerFPGA project in the year 2025. If you want like a party style console, almost like a briefcase or however it will be, I'm hoping it's like a foldable one, like a laptop. That's why I've done the kind of AI design there. And it's something that'll be nice. You can put it in your bag. You can take it out to a friend's, you know, whether you're meeting someone in a coffee shop, have a coffee, go down the pub, wherever you go, open it up and play some MiSTer on the go. Then Taki said that he's also going to be doing this one here, which he's teased a few shots, and it's going to be a MiSTerFPGA. Now, it's not using the MiSTer Pi design. It's got a purpose-made MiSTer board in there. It's going to be PlayStation based. It's going to have 2 memory card slots on there, 2 PlayStation controller slots in there, as well as a USB port, and you can run original controllers on this. So it will give you that PlayStation 1 vibe. If you want to play more than 2 players, you need to get that multi-tap out, and it can take two memory cards. Now, what I'm not sure about is whether optical media is going to get implemented. I think no, but hey, let's see what happens in the weeks or months to come. Next up, guys, this is probably my biggest want of 2025. This is something that Taki teased previously, a handheld MiSTer. I love handheld gaming. If you're a regular on the channel, you know I absolutely love and adore handheld gaming. So when this was teased, I was like, yes, I really want it. Now, we've already got some MiSTer handhelds, but they're not widely available, and we look at those next. But guys, I'm so looking forward to this. I love the Analogue Pocket, and to have a MiSTerFPGA handheld to be able to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation Core while in bed on a handheld sounds like a dream come true, and that's something I'm looking forward to in 2025. As well as that, Taki Udon said further down the line, he's going to release, again, another AI render. This is probably not going to look anything like that. Some of the stuff in that image is bent. But Taki Udon said that he's also going to make an FPGA console, an FPGA MiSTer console that will take cartridges. It's going to be one system. It's not going to be multiple systems. We don't know what that is now. What you can kind of see there looks like a SNES cartridge, whether it's a SNES, a Mega Drive, a NES, a Neo Geo. I have no idea. All I know it's a cartridge-based system. So I guess time will tell. Then, in the realm of MiSTer, we've got the M3, the marsupial MiSTer multi-system. Sorry guys, not going to edit this. And this was something that was designed by Koala. And it's more of a high-end project that uses an original DE10 Nano. I think it went, if I'm not mistaken, for around $600. Now these were made in limited edition. You could get like a Neo Geo style one, a Mega Drive style one, a PlayStation one, or like a standard style one. This was based on the MiSTer multi-system. But what was really good about this, they just went above and beyond. With the launch of this, it came with a controller, it came with licensed software of indie games that the core supported. So I think one of them might have been like Cyborg Justice or Cyborg Force, I think it was called. It had Tap 2 integration in there, so you had it ready to go. You tapped the card and that card launched the game. And this for the whole part was very, very good. It's just when this came out, you had the Tachyon clones, and obviously people generally go for the cheaper stuff. But for the people that wanted the console-like experience, had the money to spend, everyone I know that bought one of these was actually very, very happy with it. So that's something. And in 2025, what can we expect? I'm expecting good things from this project. Whatever the next one is, I'm looking forward to it. Whether it's competitive, whether it's got a competitive price, and whether it will compete with the Tachyon stuff for some of the cheaper kind of DE10 Nano alternatives that are out there, remains to be seen. But again, it's a different market. The people that buy this, you know, this is more of a niche. They're made in limited quantities. Again, it's nice to have different stuff out there on the market. It's nice to have different choices, something for everybody. Someone really might like this design, might want that console-like experience, and they'll go for this. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see what this company brings out in 2025. You can bet your bottom dollar whatever they bring out will be very, very cool. Then next up, the MiSTer multi-system, which the M3 was based on. Well, they are releasing the MiSTer multi-system 2, and this time, guys, it is an all-in-one console. It's not just a shell. You don't need to provide your own DE10 Nano. They are making their own custom board, which at the moment I presume will be based on the DE10 Nano, so it will be able to run all the MiSTer cores, and it might have some stuff, or who knows whether it will be a powerful board or not. I'm not exactly sure exactly what's going to happen with this. All I know is it's going to be an all-in-one solution. So it's going to be the MiSTer multi-system 2, plug and play, plug it in and play stuff. It'll be really interesting if they use a more powerful board that can run like the MiSTer cores, and it can do some other stuff, and we can see some innovation in FPGA gaming. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, and it's something that I intend to keep you guys posted on. I do a weekly news video every Saturday. And hopefully I can keep you updated on that. But my gut's telling me it's going to be a MiSTer, because if you look at the bottom at the center, you can kind of see it says MiSTer there as well. So it's likely just a variation on the MiSTer, and it's ready to go. What will be interesting though is the pricing over here, because this one over here, it's from a company that's in the land I am from, which is the United Kingdom. And we know that in the Western world, when it comes to competing with pricing and even postage, the East always beats the West. So it remains to be seen exactly what happens here. I know a lot of people are very excited about it. A lot of people really like the MiSTer multi-system. So already when I showed this in my weekly news video, there was a lot of excitement about this. So 2025, we'll get something nice about this. This over here is a YouTube channel, What's Ken Making, very, very good channel. So he showcased a handheld MiSTer that he made. So what he used for that is, if you cast yourself back a few slides, there was a QM Tech board. Now the QM Tech board, they did one with onboard SD RAM, so you didn't need to add the SD RAM separately. That made it easier to kind of make it into this handheld form. But what's really, really cool is if Ken hasn't already made all the design docs available and made it completely open source, he will be doing it shortly. I'm pretty sure he has done it, right? But what even Ken said, he's really interested in seeing where other people take this. So, you know, as well as Taki making a handheld, we've got this one over here, and someone may go, okay, you know what, I can look at everything that Ken's done, and maybe I can improve it, or maybe I can do this to it, or I can change it. So this is very, very interesting. We may get some more stuff coming out of this raw design. It may evolve into something better. It may evolve into something that's got 6 face buttons for people that like the Saturn stuff, or the 6-button Mega Drive stuff. Again, something to keep an eye on, and definitely check out what's Ken Making's YouTube channel. Very talented guy. I mean, he's made the handheld MiSTer, man, as a DIY project. My latest DIY project was a bunk bed, and I spent 7 hours making that thing. So talent is there. Next up, guys, TZ, oh, I forget the person's name now. It's TZM. Okay, it's a few letters, man. I'll put it in the description if I forget. TZMWX, I think. So they're one of the people that were behind the Saru optical drive emulator that was released for the Sega Saturn. So he was one of the people that was involved in that. They're very talented in design and the work that they do. And they've been working on a handheld MiSTer as well. Now, I'm not sure if the designs are made available yet or whether this is just with TZMWX, that's it. But either way, it's very nice to see this innovation. So I'm looking forward to the Taki handheld, because that's not going to be 3D printed. That's going to be injection molded. It's going to feel like a proper product. But you know, I'm not putting any of this stuff down. It's nice to see this innovation, and this might be just something that's very nice. And you know, these hobbyist projects, people might do them. People might like produce these and sell these in small batches. So again, very interested. We'd like to see what TZMWX does in 2025 with everything they do. On a side note, they've even like made something like this, which is a handheld Saturn. They've put a whole Saturn with the optical drive emulator in a small handheld. So amazing work. Again, very talented individuals in retro and FPGA gaming. Next up, guys, the Analogue Pocket. Now, this has dominated. It is the best FPGA gaming handheld that's currently out there and available to buy, because it has the awesome open FPGA. So not only does it play your Game Boy Color, your Game Boy Advance with adapters, you can play the Sega Game Gear, the PC Engine, the Atari Lynx, the Neo Geo Pocket, and the Neo Geo Pocket Color. That's just with adapters and cartridges. The open FPGA side opens everything up. You can play stuff from SNES, PC Engine, CD, the Commodore Amiga. Once you dock it, you can play it on a larger screen. It is just a great device. I really like it because I'm a big fan of the Game Boy, and running that DMG filter on there is just fantastic. And these guys have sold bucket loads. They've done limited editions. They're usually out of stock. Currently, I took this screenshot from this site earlier. If you do want to buy it, the black one is in stock, and you can't go wrong with black. It's the first one that I bought. So Analogue Pocket, amazing 2024. What they're going to have in the year 2025. So again, AI images coming up. So I imagine they'll be doing some more limited editions. There'll be some more limited editions out. There'll be some normal stock ones out as well. It's a great product. It really is. Now, some kind of AI renders here. So on the left-hand side, we've got a Game Boy Advance style one, and that's one of the biggest ones. Whenever we talk about, hey, what would you like the next limited edition of the Analogue Pocket to be, people are always like, we really want one in a Game Boy Advance style. And I definitely echo that, because the original Game Boy Advance, the original style Game Boy Advance, is my favorite one. I have like the Game Boy Advance SP. I have a few Game Boys actually, some modded, some not. I used to have a micro. I don't have one anymore, but my favorite one to hold is the original style one. It's the most comfortable one. So once you get that modded with a color screen, it looks really good. So if Analogue were to release a limited edition, it would be really nice to get like one in the form factor of a Game Boy Advance. It has a massive catalog of games already via OpenFPGA. You've got excellent FPGA core developers like Hotego supporting it and releasing lots and lots of arcade cores on the system. So it would be great to get a different, more comfortable form factor for extended gameplays. Now on the right hand side, that is a render, and again guys, that is just AI. So don't look at these and think like, wow, this is some secret, top secret stuff I got from Analogue. It's not. This is just DALL-E chat AI doing, ChatGPT doing its thing. How about an Analogue Pocket 2? Now this is pure speculation. I don't know anything about an Analogue Pocket 2, but the effects the Analogue Pocket has had on people, the nostalgia that has awoken, the FPGA gaming that they have done on the go, I mean, it would only be right to presume that they would want to continue that success with a follow-up to the Analogue Pocket with an Analogue Pocket 2. There's been plenty of feedback from the community as a landscape handheld rather than a portrait one. So imagine something now with a more powerful FPGA. Let's just say it's got the same amount of logic elements as something like the DE10 Nano. We've already seen handheld versions come out of that as DIY projects. So what if now we get an Analogue Pocket 2? It's more powerful. It has the open FPGA side where now people can port cores over like the Sega Saturn, like the Nintendo 64 core, and you're getting that on an analog device which may support some cartridges, whatever systems. I don't know what system it will do. It may just do the Game Boy stuff again and what it does already, but it has a more powerful FPGA, and on the open FPGA side we've got access to more powerful cores. I mean, it sounds like a dream come true. I mean, we're getting a MiSTer handheld, so I'm really happy with that, but I do like the Analogue stuff. Analogue have a nice kind of touch of finesse to what they do. So yeah, looking forward to either a landscape mode limited edition. That would be a day one purchase for me because I like the Analogue Pocket and I love the Game Boy Advance. If I had a Game Boy Advance themed one, yep, day one purchase. And on top of that, an Analogue Pocket 2 or an Analogue Pocket successor from Analogue themselves. Again, pure speculation. It may never happen. They may not have plans for it. I'm just kind of talking about what potentially what could happen, right? And it's just potential. It is just speculation. Then guys, we have the Analogue 3D and an FPGA Nintendo 64 recreation that's going to support all the cartridges. So if you've got your cartridges, it's going to support original controllers and it's going to output in 4K. Unfortunately, this doesn't have open FPGA, but you can bet your bottom dollar that it will have more than just the N64 core. Again, that's just speculation, but that's definitely something to look forward to in 2025. Analogue had a good year in 2024, especially with the Analogue Pocket, and this is something that people were eagerly awaiting. It's currently out of stock. Usually once they do their first run, it will come back in stock later. Who knows if they'll do limited edition transparent colors. They may well do, historically speaking, how they've marketed the Analogue Pocket. They may be doing the same with the Analogue 3D. But again, a lot of people are excited about this. Nintendo 64 had a lot of love, especially when it came to multiplayer gaming. A lot of my multiplayer gaming was done on the Nintendo 64. I've got, what was it, GoldenEye, Mario Kart, FIFA 98 were like the top ones that we played. There was other games as well, but those were the top three. Now, I've got friends that aren't into FPGA gaming. They don't know what FPGA gaming is at all, but they've heard about this and they're excited about this, and some of them even pre-ordered it. And I was like, wow, do you know what it is? And they're like, oh no, it looks like a new N64 that I can run on my modern TV, because you know my old N64's around my mum's, and last time I tried it, I couldn't get it to fit in any TV. So this is something definitely to look forward to, especially if you've got a massive cartridge collection. I've just got an EverDrive in my cupboard. Actually, I have got some cartridges. I've got F-Zero, GoldenEye, Mario Kart. I've got like 10 cartridges ready for this when this comes out. Whether I get it or not remains to be seen at the moment. Then guys, don't sleep on these guys. So Cypede, they make a whole bunch of different devices, including FPGAs. They make the Tang range. They've got a 20K logic elements, 25K, 60K, and 138K FPGA boards. And they kind of want to crack the market. And one thing that they've been kind of announcing, or this one here, you know, they're talking about a console. Now, what's really interesting about this, it hasn't got the same amount of cores the Analogue Pocket has on Open FPGA or the MiSTer does. However, a whole bunch of MiSTer cores have been ported over to this. The ones that come to mind are NES, SNES, Mega Drive, and I think the most latest one is the Game Boy Advance. The developer that I know mainly works on this is a person called Nanto Mario. So if Tang released this console, hopefully it will get some more developer interest, and hopefully this will just be a cheaper solution, because maybe you don't want to get a MiSTer because you're not interested in playing later systems like the Saturn, some of the arcade games. Maybe all you wanted was a NES or a SNES. This will hopefully feed your appetite, right? So this will kind of, yeah, this will fulfill your needs, just getting something like this. They've even got smaller ones that you can kind of program, but they actually want to release a console that is, it's a console, it's plug and play. So hopefully I'll be looking at those ones in the future. But it's very, very interesting because I've spoken to Cypede before, and they want to do stuff and they want to be innovative in the stuff. So hopefully there can be some original cores for this. Who knows if they'll get developers on board. But for now, like, even the ports that they've got are good. And if it's half the price of, like, say, a MiSTer DE10 Nano clone, then it becomes a viable option to potentially pick one of these up. I guess a lot of it comes down to the price and what cores you get and what your own personal needs are. a while back as well, Saipede also spoke about doing handhelds. Now they wanted to do a really small one with 20k logic elements, then they wanted to go for a mid-range one with 68, and then they wanted to go for a mega one with 138k logic elements. I'm not sure where they are in the kind of production on this. We were, you know, they were sharing designs before, and I remember looking at them and kind of discussing some of the stuff with them. So this might be something that may well still happen. I think the console will come out first. This might be a little bit further down the line, but again, just something interesting in FPGA gaming, something to keep an eye on, just something that might happen in the future. Naturally, if these things do get released, I'll keep you posted on that. Next up, okay, so Mod Retro. So these guys released the Game Boy. They're all sold out now. They were $200. Now, I know a lot of people say the screen's fantastic on this, and it's a very, very good modern Game Boy. But a Game Boy, I remember, it wasn't like $200. It was like $70 or $80 when it came out. Obviously, it didn't have a backlight. This has a backlight. I think it takes 3 batteries, but you can charge it via USB-C. It's got its own original game. So it's kind of recreating that Game Boy color buzz, right? And for the whole part, everyone that has played one says it has been fantastic. However, I'm not the richest guy out there. If I had unlimited money, yes, I would have bought one of these on the go, and maybe I would have gone for maybe like the Leaf or Inferno, right? But nonetheless, it's out there. It's an FPGA Game Boy. You know what? This one here uses the MiSTerFPGA core. So a lot of other projects you'll find, whether it's the Analogue Pocket via OpenFPGA, they are using the MiSTer core. Saipede, again, ports of the MiSTer core. A lot of other projects use the MiSTer cores. Sometimes MiSTer uses cores that were originally built on previous systems, such as the MiST. But in this case here, the MiSTerFPGA core is what is powering the Chromatic. So the Chromatic have released this. Like me personally, I know a lot of people go, this is very different, and I like this over the Analogue Pocket. For me, like, you know, with my limited money, if I could only have one, I'd pick the Analogue Pocket over this. But however, you know, it is a valiant effort, and I do appreciate what this actual device is. But more interesting is, what would these guys get up to in the year 2025, right? So 2025, I think this is an amber nick here or something, but I wanted to kind of have something up on screen. So will they then move over to an FPGA Game Boy Advance and maybe just use the MiSTer core again? Who knows, right? Because the MiSTer core is open source. So that's always a possibility. If these guys, Mod Retro, have released a Game Boy Color, then the next step sounds like a Game Boy Advance. Or would they start releasing consoles that you connect to the TV? And I don't know, are they going to go down the route of a NES? Are they going to go Mega Drive? You know, stuff that Analogue have kind of released already. I guess 2025, it remains to be seen what they release. And if you haven't got the money for a Chromatic and you don't want an assembled Game Boy, you can buy an FPGBC kit, right? Or FPGBC for Game Boy Color. This you will need to put together yourself. You can get it. So if you're competent enough and you're good at putting stuff together, this may well be an option for you. But as you can see, it comes with lots of different parts. It comes with a shell, and you need to put the whole thing together. There might be a way of buying this assembled. It might be a few dollars more, but at $69, if you want an FPGA Game Boy that just runs Game Boy, and I've got funny playing screens in my Game Boy. I think I've got it in my Game Boy Color and my Game Boy DMG, and for the whole part, I'm very, very happy with the screens. They do a good job with the screen, so I can imagine this is quite good. Even though I haven't tried this myself, I love Game Boys. I just don't have unlimited money, or else I would try this stuff out. Okay, next up, Neptune. So if I'm not mistaken, this is from a Brazilian team, and they are making the cancelled Sega console via FPGA, which was a combination of a Sega Mega Drive and the Sega 32X. Just be mindful when you're looking to buy one of these. There is an official account. I'll try and link some stuff in the description, but I may not do it when this video comes out. I may add it later on, or if you ask me in a comment, I'll try and reply to you with the official source. There was like someone that set up like a fake site trying to take pre-orders on this, and the people at GamesCare that were behind this actually warned about that, saying only get your news regarding the Neptune FPGA from us. So this is, yep, a Mega Drive and a 32X in one. They've kind of showed this, that they've shown some camcorder footage. I think one of the guys involved in this is making a really cool game that looks like a ninja game. So again, something to look forward to in 2025. Now, in all honesty, am I interested in this? No, I'm not. And the reason why, it's not because it's bad or anything, is I have this on my MiSTer, and I know a lot of times, okay, just get a MiSTer. I don't have all the hardware, I don't have the cartridges, but maybe if I had a big cartridge collection, this might be for me. But there's a lot of interest in this. A lot of people really, really want this, and awesome. I love seeing stuff like this, even though this isn't something that's personally for me. the CD now. So we've got the original CD, which isn't as powerful as the MiSTer, and it can do some of the cores that the MiSTer can do. Developers like Hotego support this platform. The CD 128, I think, came at potentially the worst possible time. So this was supposed to be a little bit cheaper than the MiSTerFPGA. It does potentially some things better than the DE10 Nano. There might be some improvements on there, but when we had the Retro remake and the QM Tech cheaper MiSTerFPGAs, it kind of almost made this void to buy. Now if you don't agree with that, then educate me down below. I'm just looking at this face value as a consumer. You know, why would I spend $336 on this when I can spend less than $200 and get a fully kitted out MiSTer kit? I mean, that's just one thing that I'm saying. Educate me, let me know what this does better and what is a key selling point on this that you would pick this over an original DE10 Nano bundle, which will be slightly more, or one of the alternative DE10 Nano bundles. Let me know. But nonetheless, CD128, it's around, it's available for sale, and it's going to be around in 2025. The next up, this is a project that I really liked, and this was the MiSTex, and this was using, this was a way to be able to run the MiSTer firmware, I think, or a fork of the MiSTer firmware. And what you could do is a lot of the cores were getting ported over. So I've got a MiSTex board, and I think Toki's on there. It's got the NES core on there. It's got stuff on there already. But the whole point of this was to be able to use cheaper FPGA boards. And instead of the DE10 Nano, you've got a cheaper board, and you've got what the MiSTer gives you on cheaper boards. Unfortunately, because of the cheaper MiSTerFPGA boards hitting the market, it kind of again made this project kind of redundant. I think there's still some development in there, but it's definitely slowed down, because the whole point of this was to give people access to cheaper MiSTer projects via different FPGA boards. And if you've just got the MiSTer project on an FPGA board, you know, it kind of defies the point. I'm not sure where this is going to go in 2025, whether they'll kind of evolve the project into something else. Again, nothing major, but something to keep an eye on. It's definitely something that's interested. I was interested in this in 2024, and I'll keep half an eye on 2025 as well. Next up, okay, so from Antonio Villena, hopefully I got the name right. There's different FPGAs out there, but guys, I've not really had the reason to look into any of these. You've got like the Neptuno Plus, and then we've got the complete, they sell a complete MiSTex mini set. Okay, so that will use a different FPGA in there. The X-Dress, all of this stuff here that you can see, the ZX Dress. So there's a range of stuff that they kind of sell. Don't really know too much about it, but if you check out Antonio Villena's website, he's got a whole bunch of stuff listed up there. I'm sure it offers some solutions that some people are interested in, just not something that's really for me. Now, the next one here isn't really an FPGA project, but I wanted to give this a mention. So I think someone that I speak to over on Discord, Desert Panther, I think that's their name. So what they did was Retro SFF ITX Llama is a brand new DOS Windows 98 retro PC with AGP, OPL3, WAV header and adjustable CPU performance. So in essence, that kind of Windows 98 era of gaming, we had stuff like Red Alert, June. Actually, there's a whole bunch of games. I kind of skipped that. I am going to get one of these at some point, but I've been speaking to one of the people involved in this saying, give it to me when it is idiot proof. I kind of missed this, so I want it when it's plug and play. Something awesome like the Amiga Vision front end, or at least when it's as easy as that to use. I don't want to go through all the setup process. However, I want to give this an honorable mention because, you know, for all those people that wanted the nostalgia for that, this gives you that PC performance, really good performance, and it lets you connect it to modern displays. Everyone that's into this has only sang praise about this. And what's really good about this as well, if they've got a Discord, if you go over to that, they do group buys. So when you're buying PCBs, you can't buy them in 1, 2s. The more you buy, the cheaper you get. So they'll do a group buy where everyone buys, they chip in 25, 50, 100, whatever it is. And once they get those numbers, they put in that group order and everyone makes a saving. But again, not necessarily an FPGA project, but nonetheless a way to play your old PC games or your old DOS and your Windows 98 games. Something to keep an eye out in 2025 for sure, if you're from that era especially. Right. This is pure speculation now. So MiSTer 2 2025, there's always talk of MiSTer 2. There's always whispers of MiSTer 2 on some of the discourse. People will talk about it. People will go, oh, what about MiSTer 2? Sometimes people just, they outright troll me, man. And they go, oh, by the way, they're talking about MiSTer 2 over here. And there I go sniffing around. But don't be surprised if all of a sudden one day you just find out there's a MiSTer 2 project, because there's a chance that if it does surface, it will just be bang, like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, MiSTer 2 is here. we don't care, raise your hands in the air. Okay, that was cheesy. I'm not going to edit that out. Right, okay. So one board that was being spoken about on like the MiSTerFPGA Discord, and it was the DE25 standard development kit. I hope I've got the right one here. Now, I don't think this is for sale at the moment. You can have a look at all the specs there. I'm not going to read through all of it, but this is, as far as I know, I think it's based on like the Agilex 5, if I'm not mistaken. Please forgive me if I'm getting anything wrong. I'm giving you the layman's version. So potentially there could be a MiSTer 2. There could be a more powerful board, provided it comes in at a decent price, whether it's subsidized from someone like Intel, like the DE10 Nano was. Maybe something will happen, right? Because at some point you can imagine the MiSTer evolving and us moving over to a MiSTer 2. You know, if it becomes a good option, if it's cheap, if it's available, if it ticks all those boxes, we may well get one. So the DE25 is mainly what a lot of people were kind of speaking about. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. Very, very interested in this if something like this does release, because I really like the MiSTer, and there's a whole bunch of other projects that might well come out, but you know, MiSTer is an established name. If all of a sudden MiSTer 2 came out, a lot of people will go that to first. So again, if you look at the bottom right there now, please contact Thoracic sales team for more information. So if you want to buy this, or you want to purchase it, you need to contact them. There's not even a price on the website. So again, speculation there, guys. Let's keep our expectations in check. And this project here, I'm excited about this. There's definitely delay after delay after delay, but the reason, okay, so sometimes when a project is delayed, I can be quite critical, but it all depends on their transparency. Where these guys have got delays, you can go over to their Discord and they're openly discussing everything. They're showing what their board is going to look like. They're showing all the layout that they're doing, what each pin is doing. They're sharing everything out in the open. So there's not a degree of secrecy there. There's not like, trust me, bro, I'm going to get it done. You know, it's not going to be, we're going to show you like footage of lots and lots of different advanced systems running, but we're not going to show you any of like the work in the background, the work that we're doing to achieve what we are saying. These guys are generally fairly quiet. I do feature them on the channel from time to time, but again, when I head over to the Discord, very, very open, very, very transparent. If I ask a question, I get an answer. If I don't get an answer, I get told why they can't currently answer that and when they will be able to answer it. And I'm really looking forward to this. And I do feel like 2025 is going to be the year of the Replay2. It's a great project with some great people. So the Agilex 5 is a bleeding edge new FPGA, which is faster and larger than any other competing retro gaming system. The part we are using has dual 64-bit A55 and dual 64-bit A75 processors on board. It's a natural successor to the Cyclone 5 device used in the MiSTer DE10 Nano board. So that's kind of like what it said on their blog a while back. Again, they're always sharing stuff with it, and I believe like the DE25 is like from the Agilex range as well. So I guess it depends on, you know, will all of a sudden a MiSTer 2 pop up? Will Replay2 come out? I'm looking forward to both. So whichever one gets out there, it's one of those things that I've in my head, I've put money away for to buy and to feature on the channel. But again, just kind of sharing everything that they're doing. So even though there are delays, every time there's a delay, you're getting shown more stuff. They've got a good relationship with Intel, and hopefully we will be playing something on the Replay2 in 2025. But again, yeah, looking really, really good. Right, let's kind of end here. Right, this might be the last one, and this is that Super Sega, the Super FPGA, guys. Okay, this has become the biggest troll, the biggest joke in FPGA, maybe even in retro gaming, but definitely FPGA gaming in the year 2024. They came out, they said, we're doing Super Sega. It's gonna run every Sega system, right? Master System, SG-1000, the Mega Drive, the Saturn, the Dreamcast. It's gonna run optical media, it's gonna run cartridges, it's gonna run stuff via SD card. And then they kind of done a pre-order campaign. They said you can pay €3, and then in the small print, you know, that not everyone reads, once people put down the €3, they were charged the full amount, which was, you know, around the €400 mark. They went on to produce the units. Then they said, Sega got in touch with us. They told us you have to drop and destroy every single unit. You've got to pay us damages, or their lawyer was asking some damages. It was a complete circus. People like veteran TV and radio presenter Ian Lee from the UK covered it. Video Game Esoterica covered this quite comprehensively. Even I did a few videos on this. I even had an interview with this gentleman here smoking a cigarette live on my channel like a while back. But then all of a sudden, when you think, you know, you think, okay, these guys are they've taken your money. They're going to say Sega have told us to destroy the consoles. Everything's gone in legal fees. Goodbye. You know, they've taken like 130,000 euros or something. But then all of a sudden, they share some more comms from Sega where they're saying Sega are apologizing, that the people that kind of said, sent a cease and desist, or, you know, like the letter before action saying you need to cease production, were actually rogue employees, and we apologize for that. And they're telling that Sega are telling Super Sega or Super SPGA that you should take our employees to court, and we completely endorse your project, and if you need any help, please get in touch. So most of you guys believe this is to be a scam, and you know, there's no smoke without fire. I won't back this project, but I can tell you one thing, man, it's brought a lot of entertainment from when they first come on the scene, and they kind of had like a $30,000 or $20,000 FPGA that they kind of showed in their press release, and when it got questioned, they were trying to say there are cheaper ones available. This is just bananas. I gotta say, that main guy Alejandro, he is super entertaining. He done an interview with Ian Lee where he was cooking potatoes and prawns. He was drinking, he was smoking. I think when he done the interview with me, he was I think he was drinking and smoking as well. And yeah, it's just been crazy. So yeah, I wanted to put that at the end because, you know what, stranger things have happened. I don't think this project is going to surface. I won't be surprised if this is some kind of experiment with some actors where they're trying to show how gullible retro gaming is. And what they end up doing is they end up making like a 2-hour movie or a documentary documenting this all the way from the start to the finish, what they did, how they started this. And yeah, and then it just ends up being this movie. But if that's not one thing, then maybe this thing saying where Sega's endorsing them, maybe they're going to start some kind of Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign to maybe get some more money out of people. I just have no idea, and I don't even want to speculate. Actually, I'm speculating here, but I don't want to say anything in concrete. I don't want to call them a scam. I don't want to call them legit. You guys make up your own mind, but all I'm saying now is I wouldn't even give them the free €3 pre-order if I bought a prepaid card with only €3 on there, so they couldn't even take more funds. I would rather hold on to my €3. And with that, guys, that brings us to the end. That's kind of it for 2025. Now, I may have missed out some projects. If I have, then let me know down below in the comments. But I've tried to comprehensively cover every project that I think has some kind of will surface or have some kind of meaning in the year 2025. So yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts below. Like I said, if I missed anything, mention it in the comments below. But that's it, guys. Have a great 2025. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.